Greetings, programs. Welcome back to ArcNeo Reviews, and welcome to, I guess, technically a special video. We're calling this ArcNeo Returns the Monkey, because I'm going to go ahead and catch up on Optimus Primal reviews. So, one thing to mention, yes, I did a while back go ahead and look at the Worlds Collide box set Nemesis Prime. I had mentioned in that video that I do not have a normal version of this mold, and that's still technically true because I have the Netflix version. So we're not going to go in depth over full details and everything. We have still looked at this mold already. Worth noting, you are obviously dealing with a new set of paint and everything. This one is, this being the Netflix one, some of the colors are a little darker and more muted than the original. But it's still the same figure overall. It's got a different... The robot head is really the only different part going on here. But as well as just doing a quick refresh on him, we are going to take a look at the reissue Mega Class Beast Wars Optimus Primal and the mainline Rise of the Beasts Optimus Primal. I don't have the Studio Series one or the Ape Link, which is like a leader class instead of a Voyager. We're keeping this relatively simple here still. And just a quick aside, we will not be looking at the McDonald's Optimus Primal again because no one wants to see that thing again. I grew up with that thing. I don't want to see it again. So we're not going to see it again. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. There's nothing to add from the previous video, so we're going to go ahead, transform him, because that's where the real differences are. I do my best here to kind of keep it in line with how I transformed him last time, even though I'm just going to go through and get it over with. Get these wrist cannons out. Pull that up. And I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video, but he does have, like, a second knee joint in here that tabs into the back of the knee. I don't know what the point of that is. Like, it doesn't... this is a fine enough knee joint for the robot mode. I don't see the use of doing that. And it's not like, oh, it extends the leg or anything. No, it just... There is a second knee joint that pegs in there and just makes him look like he broke his leg if you actually use it. So there's that, which I did not go over last time. Make sure the butt flap is unpegged here. Then deal with the weirdness of the head. There we go. Okay, I think we got everything good. Are we good? Yeah, I think that's, well, no. Forgot the shoulder cannons. I always end up forgetting the shoulder cannons. Also because they're a pain in the keister to actually use on all versions of this mold. There we go. Okay, and so now we have the Kingdom Optimus Primal in his Optimus Primally mold, or mode, not mold. As you can see, incredibly different head sculpt from the guy we looked at last time, who has basically just a standard Optimus Prime head. This guy's actually got, a mouth and stuff, kind of split mouth plate. But, again, it's the exact same figure with a different set of paint. And I'm not gonna lie, especially after having dealt with the other two primals we're looking at in this video, I went from, like, kind of liking this guy to... This is probably the weakest version of Optimus Primal you can get. Like, I'm gonna be point blank about it. This is still, like, it's not a bad toy, but the gappiness of the chest has really started to kind of grind on me, and the tolerances in the joints have, like, led to this always kind of a pain in the butt to pose figure. That could be, just me getting unlucky with my exact copies kind of thing, dealing with, Hasbro QC. But yeah, these are I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, they're so terrible. They're fine, but you can do a lot better. So let's go ahead and actually look at the better now. And what better way to start with the better than by looking at the original? Yes, this is the reissue of the old 90s Optimus Primal. And he is a big boy. This thing is mega, or he might be ultra class, actually. I actually think he's ultra class. So we'll see. I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me without even realizing that I did at some point say I'm not sure if I got it right now. But yeah, monkey mode is very very angry. The ring light is kind of making it look like he has eyes, but they are just solid blue. The paint was incredibly haphazard on some of these reissue figures, as you can tell by his runny nose going on there. It's not the last thing you're gonna see like that. He is technically posable in this mode, but it's the same with most primals. It's not posability you're going to want to use a whole lot. The legs start immediately exposing robot parts when you actually, use them at all. The arms are gimmicks, actually, so you're only going to get so much range out of them. The elbow bends are pretty nice, but, like, trying to use this rotation, you are going to have to, like, fight against the mechanism inside there. They don't go very far out just because mostly of stuff getting in the way, as well as a second gimmick that's going on here. We'll look at the gimmick a little more in the robot mode. It works better there. Head is completely static, unfortunately, which is probably the biggest downfall of this guy, because you can't even get him into something that looks like a normal, like, accurate gorilla pose. He has to be, like, oddly vertical in the front with his arms just completely straight down to make them actually reach as far as they need to. So that's a little bit of a bummer. In this mode, you can use his button on his butt to flip up his shoulder cannons, and they are lined up pretty well for this, actually, so I'll give him credit there. He does come with 4 of these little missiles, which, again, thanks to Hasbro QC, don't always want to actually clip in for use. We'll see. Okay, that one on to go, actually. Come on. There we go. Okay, so these two at least are willing to be cooperative. You got the tiniest little buttons up here. Does the missile thing. There is a reason for there being 4, other than just, making sure you don't lose them, but we'll deal with that later. For now, we'll go ahead and fold those back, and we'll get him transformed. Transformation on him is kind of like you can see how this set the standard for Optimus Primals. I do like a couple of the extra steps in him. I'll just shut up and get going. But something you don't see on a lot of Primals is you actually do flip over the monkey feet here. And so while it's still weird toes, it's not, you know, the very clear gorilla feet with the toenails and everything. By the way, the sculpting on this thing is actually really impressive for its age. Like, the fur texture is just everywhere. Even on the things where, you know, the paint color doesn't match, the fur texture is still there. That's all really neat, actually. But we'll go ahead, straighten his legs out, spin him around, fold down the feet, which you can see he's got, you know, the little ankle pistons, just like the Kingdom one had. They don't move as much, but they're there. That's a neat touch. You actually have to kind of pull this piece out a little bit to get over the tab. Strange touch in this version of the mold, but do that, fold up those. Go ahead. There, well, first we angle the camera up a little bit more because this guy is tall. Go ahead and get this tab at the bottom of the neck to come loose so you can actually start bringing this forward. When you've got it kind of halfway like this, go ahead and flip over the monkey face to this side. And I will note, I thought for sure like I had a QC problem and like something was missing that was supposed to be there. No, apparently that really is how the chest looks. It's very strange, but okay. Go ahead, bring that down all the way. It'll just sit in there and kind of line up with his chest. Come in here, and he will basically be almost always be wearing his mutant mask by default, just because that is how his head folds up back in here for transformation the best. So to get rid of the mutant mask, turn the head around and fold the mutant mask away into the cavity back there. Then hold it in place while you turn the head around yet again. Make sure his little ear flaps have stayed up. And there you've got your OG Optimus Primal. And this guy is so much fun. He is big, stupid, chunky fun. He's very heavy for his size. Posability on him is actually pretty good for a figure of his age. The head is on a ball joint, so you know you get some wiggle, some waggle, rotates. You can rotate it without moving the mutant mask as well. That's just the way you handle figures when you're doing reviews. You tend to not move things correctly. And you can see, here's more of that really, really terrible overspray on this particular copy of the figure. I'd be angry if I hadn't got this guy out of the clearance section. I think I paid $10, if that, so I'll live with it. Arms do rotate all the way around. Messing with the one gimmick here, but they do also go in and out. Waist swivel, thanks to transformation. There is just a really big ball joint in there for the thigh, so you get some rotation there. And he can, in fact, do the full splits and then some. Thanks to the transformation, he has a very deep knee bend. And, you know, you can fold the toes up if you need for a running pose or something. So, yeah, posability on him is overall really, really good. So we'll go ahead and get into the gimmicks. Obviously, you can still hit the butt button again, flip those over to get the shoulder launchers. We've already covered the mutant mask because he starts in mutant mask when you transform him. Let's see if I remember. It's this forearm. If you open it up, which it does not like to do all the time. I have to pull that back. Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, he flips out a blaster in this arm, so you've got 2 more spots for 2 more of those missiles. Not gonna bother actually using them. It's missiles. We know how these work. You do still have use of the elbow, which is nice. So go ahead and just fold that under. Fold this part of the arm up, and then lock it into place. And so yeah, what I was doing wrong is you just kind of pull on this, and it'll all flick open. So in the other forearm, he actually has his only bit of proper weapon storage, where he's got the legendary Primal skull mace, which, you know, you can tuck the string and everything up in there and do the thing. The sculpt on that is still so crazy. I do really like that. It's so extra and so fun. But, you know what? Well, here, we'll go ahead. We'll actually fold that up and actually give him one of his weapons. This is a tight fit to get into his hand, so I apologize. And then for his last gimmick, there are 2 ways to do it. So right now, I have these 2 little switches on his biceps, I guess, or shoulders. I'm not quite sure which part of the arm that technically is, but I've got them switched down. So if you come back here, and there's no good way to explain the way this lever works. It's not an obvious lever. Like, if you put pressure on it in the right spot as you move it around, he will wiggle his arms in and out. Let's... like that. Or if you go ahead and pop them up, and do it again, he'll do that. And so obviously you can use that to get him, you know, to do the, you know, gorilla chest beat thing. It also does a good job of swinging the mace around. Again, it's big, dumb fun. These arms will very quickly fall out of sync. I don't know if that's like a lazy, you know, reissue thing, if it's an issue this figure always had. I never have gotten to mess with an original. It's big, it's stupid, it's fun. He does also come with his traditional swords. Not much to say about them. They are blue. He can hold them and do sword things with them. Unfortunately, the only weapon of his that actually has weapon storage is the mace. So, I mean, when you're finding used copies of this guy, there's usually a reason you find the mace with him and nothing else. It's because the mace is the only thing he can actually store. But, yeah, that is... didn't push the button hard enough. And then things decide not to flip up all the way. How anticlimactic. But, yeah, that is the original Optimus Primal. A little fiddly here and there, but a lot of fun, actually. I can't knock him too much. He is big, dumb fun. I know if I would have had this guy when I was a kid, I would have thought he was great. And, you know, maybe my little squabbles with him are just reissue problems, or even, you know, again, just this copy problems. But to go ahead and wrap up here, we will look at the third and final Primal for today, and that is going to be the Rise of the Beasts mainline I believe still Voyager class. Didn't see anywhere on the box where it actually gave a size class for this guy, but he's very clearly Voyager sized. He's actually a tiny bit bigger than the Kingdom molds of Optimus Primal that I've got. And this is easily my absolute favorite version of Primal that I own, and has, like, this is the reason I don't think I'll ever be getting another Primal. I love this guy. Now, he does have probably the simplest paint of them all. There's a little bit of, silver here and there. There's some different grays used. He's very, very plain color-wise. But he probably has, like, the best looking gorilla mode, to be honest. With the, techno-organic design he's got. Really, really nice face sculpt. I know it's probably just them cheaping out, and my buddy Optimus, when he reviewed a copy of this figure, also showed, they probably were just being lazy with his eyes and sort of oversprayed, but the way the overspray happened, it looks like his eyes are glowing, and it looks awesome. So if this was intentional, it was a great choice. If it wasn't, it still looks cool, and I'm not going to complain. Posability in this mode is kind of what you'd expect. You can bend the legs. You don't really want to bend the legs. He looks weird. Slightly less weird if you get it to bend at the second joint here, but Optimus Primal figures never tend to look very good when you start bending the legs. Arm rotates all the way around. Moves out for a full tree. There is a bicep rotation in there. A little bit past 90 degrees at the elbow. Wrist rotation. And then probably the most articulated head I have seen for an Optimus Primal. You do actually have, not a lot, but you have side to side. You have up and down. And rotation. And it's just kind of this mess of joints hidden up in there. There's very hard to actually show what's going on, but there's a lot of joints up in there that lead to, still not, like a perfect range of motion or anything, but he's got the most up and down of all the Primals. And then the fact he can turn his head at all, pretty stinking good. I even like the way that this gray piece in here is molded, because it does help with, if you just look under, you still get the obvious, hollow head thing, but that serves to kind of help fill in at least some of it in most poses. So, yeah, pretty neat, honestly, I think. Let's go ahead and get him transformed. Start by popping his swords off of his back. I do appreciate how tightly the swords hold on this guy. He's got the most secure weapon storage of any of the Primals. Lift up the butt flap a little bit. Come down here. Straighten out both hinges there to straighten the legs out. Then rotate the waist around, so he ends up having a double butt flap, actually, which is weird, but it works. And then for one of the cooler features of this guy is you actually have to fold out his robot feet. They fold away completely into the shins here. I cannot praise that enough. Too many Primal figures just have, I don't mind the monkey feet staying back here for the heels. That's kind of a beast former thing. But usually you've still got, these feet just hanging out on the back of the monkey mode. Actually, no, it's an ape, not a monkey. Shut up. Return to monkey. But yeah, they actually completely hide away the robot mode feet. I love that. I love that so much. Go ahead and orient his arms. The shoulder pads don't fold out very far on this guy, but he does still have the iconic shoulder pads. And then here's where this guy got it really impressive to me. So to do his chest, you actually pull both halves forward a little bit and then split them. You can see there's tabs right here that these were pegged into, and then kind of these little hooks on this side that the other side of the chest goes over. Fold that all the way down. Grab the second chest in here, fold it down, and slide it out on this little gray piece. Then pull this out, flip it around. No weird gymnastics on making the monkey head face a certain way like you had on the Kingdom one. Just out, twist, in. I love it. Go ahead, fold up the Beast Mode chest here. It does work better if you fold this half up first since it has the center tabs. Get it tabbed in up there. Then take this piece. You've got 2 tabs here and then 2 tabs right there. These ones kind of just go under the pecs, and then there's little slots right there for the upper tabs. And there you have your mainline Kingdom, Optimus Primal in his robot mode. And I cannot believe how much I love a figure that has so little paint. Like, even what paint is here, again, he's monochromatic. He's gray, and silver with those baby blue eyes. And it works so well. Posability on this guy is really good. Ball jointed head, so you get wiggle, you get waggle, you get rotation. His head is limited in rotation just due to the shape of the, kind of the area his head sits down in, so he's not going to be looking everywhere, but still does a pretty decent job. Arm, full rotation. The shoulder pads also move with the arm so that you get a full range of motion there. Bicep swivel. A little bit past 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Wrist rotation. This should all start sounding very familiar. There is a waist joint in there. You can use it a little bit if you fold out the outer butt flap. He kicks forward, butt flaps out of the way and whack the camera. He kicks back about that far. Because of the double jointed knee, you've got full range of motion there. And then you do also have not the most ankle tilt, but you do have some, as well as, you can use that joint right there for the toes if you need. And then the important thing that he does that the Kingdom version of Primal cannot, you can stick both swords in the same hand, give him the thing, and he looks great. So, really quick, let's go ahead and get the other guys in here for a big group shot. So you can see, again, just how massive the OG version of him is. Get the Kingdom one. Here, let's bring this arm down so we can bring this guy in a little more. There we go. So yeah, that is the bulk of my primals. None of these are bad figures. This one, again, you've got some of the, it's an old figure, quabbles and issues here and there. Still a lot of fun. Has a really good shelf presence as well. Like, if you get this guy just to stick him in the robot mode and stand him somewhere, you won't be disappointed. He does look really cool doing that. This guy, he's very small for a Voyager. And the transformation is really basic, so he doesn't even try to make up for it in the way that, say, the Studio Series 86 Hot Rod did. But again, he's not bad. I know there are upgrade kits to fix the gappiness on the chest panel there. I don't think it should need that, but he does. So that's a thing you can do if you want to have this guy and make him look a little better. Maybe for scaling issues or, whatever reason you want this guy, consider getting some fillers or something. But he's not bad. He's okay. And then this guy was the surprise hit for me. You know, I expected the mainline non-Studio Series version of this figure to be not great. I found him like at a clearance store. It's just one of those like general overstock places. I grabbed him. I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. Fun for a laugh. No, I genuinely love this figure. And since he is popping up at stores like that, I get the feeling most people either just did not give him a shot or were just burned out on movie designs and stuff. If you've got a chance at this guy, get this guy. He's a lot of fun. So, all that usual rambly weirdness aside and me tripping over my own words and everything, thank you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.